Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Corey from Lion Dads back with a video for you. And I want to remind you to go to lion-dads.com and get your free PDF on getting started with the carnivore diet. It's got everything you need to do to start losing weight today. There's a grocery list in there. It's got everything you need to get started, and you can start losing weight today on a carnivore diet. www.lion-dads.com, link down in the description. So in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the importance of your sleep, getting good sleep management in, making sure your sleep is effective and efficient. There's a lot of benefits to that in your life as far as dialing in your sleep. I put it up there as far as, for your overall benefit and well-being. I put sleep up there with, getting a proper nutrition, a good diet in, and also getting good adequate exercise. I think as dads, as men, all three of those things are super important, and will contribute to you, being just better at everything you do, being a better man overall, and getting the most out of life, which I think is, for men is the most important thing right now. So there's a lot of challenges that we face when it comes to getting adequate sleep. We all have different responsibilities. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different living environments and, lifestyles and things like that. And I think, when you talk to different people who say they don't get good sleep, they'll tell you just about every different excuse in the book. Like, there's not enough hours in the day. That's a overused cliche that we hear all the time. I don't have time. I work too long, and then balancing that with having kids and trying to, make time for my wife or whatever, and do things that I need to at home, whatever. You come up with all these different reasons that guys will kind of put sleep on the back burner. And I just kind of wanted to do this video to talk about why it's important to, find that balance in life as far as getting sleep goes and things like that, and kind of putting those negative excuses aside and just kind of prioritizing sleep along with your nutrition and exercise. So the first thing I want to get started with when it comes to your sleep is obviously like the health benefits of getting sleep, right? I want to start off with, why you should be doing it and not why you're not doing it, and why you should do it. So the reasons why you should do it is, it just has so many overall health benefits. I know I had a bad relationship with sleep for a long time. I fell into a lot of the same kind of excuses and the same kind of, reasons why. I had a stressful job, and I worked long hours, and I worked like weird shifts and things like that. And then I'd come home, and I'd want to spend time with my kids, and I want to spend time with my wife, and I had other hobbies and things that I wanted to do in my life, things like, I liked reading books, and I like, doing the, whatever hobbies, activities you have, watching sports, whatever other, waste of time stuff I want to do, and, self-improvement stuff. And then, there's, going to school and getting like my master's degree, things like that were all, things in my life that I compounded, and I just using it as an excuse to put sleep on the back burner. There were times in my life where I would say, I'd get 4 hours of sleep because I just needed to do, other things in my life. I had kind of let my schedule get away from me a little bit. And so sleep ended up being one of the things in the back burner, when it's one of the things I should have made non-negotiable and made a priority, right? So I'm not going to sit here and pull up a whole bunch of studies and stuff for you guys. There's tons of that out there, really reliable shit on the internet you can find as far as why sleep is, beneficial. But I mean, I think it's pretty common sense that your body needs to do it, otherwise it wouldn't, right? So, we all know the benefits it had, or the negative effects a lack of sleep can have on heart health. That I think there's been 1 billion studies on that, and we all know that, when you sleep better, you deal with stress better, things like that. You wake up sharper, you wake up not quite as on edge, you're more refreshed and relaxed, and you're able to attack the day a little bit and deal with stress more. And also, one thing that I've noticed in my life is, the effects effective sleep had on my weight management, right? So when I first came to the carnivore diet, for example, I wasn't getting good sleep. I was having a lot of like internal problems, like heartburn, indigestion, things like that, just discomfort and things like that. There were a lot of days I couldn't sleep at all, couldn't get to sleep, dealing with different pains and kind of things like that. So it all came to a head, and then I started this carnivore diet, and I noticed, it was like that. It was quick. It was within like a month, I think. My sleep was the best it had ever been, probably, at least since I was a teenager, when I was getting, as much sleep as I could. So these are all things that have a positive effect in your life, just your overall health and well-being, mental health, physical health, all that stuff comes into play when you're getting good sleep. So now you kind of know the benefits of getting good sleep, right? Like, as you know, like my channel is geared toward dads, right? And my business is geared toward dads, helping dads just get better, level up in life. And, I think that all starts with taking care of yourself. And so there are a lot of different stresses that are kind of unique to us that cause us to have bad sleep, right? So these are all things that can compound in your life that add up to stresses. It all goes back to stress for me, I think, a lot of it really, anyway. These are all things that kind of, as a man, as a dad who's trying to put your family on his back and trying to do what's best for the people that he's responsible for, because ultimately we are, I think, responsible for our family's well-beings and things like that. As a man, that's why we step up and do this. These things just kind of compound on us, you know what I mean? These are all different stresses that we feel, and everybody feels stress. I know moms out there, women out there, single people, young people, they all have different stresses, right? But being geared toward dads, these are all things that are kind of unique to us, sort of. So one thing is like the kind of provider stress, right? The work-related stress, the professional stress of always, you've got a job, and, we all have different kind of jobs. There's a billion different kinds of jobs you can have out there. I come from like a military and government contract background, working on, pretty big projects and stuff that have pretty big, like national defense, national security ramifications, right? And things like that. And, you're told from day one how important that job is and how critical you are to that and how crucial you are to, the safety of the country and blah, 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 all that stuff. So, that stuff, there's an added, I think, kind of pressure to that, right? When it comes to you doing your job, you want to make sure you're doing it right, because like you're told literally in certain jobs from day one, there's no room for error here. Error means death or means destruction or means, the end of whatever. Some of you guys probably work in maybe finance, you know what I mean? Where, you're dealing with other people's money, you're dealing with millions of dollars or billions of dollars on a day-to-day basis or whatever it is. Some of you work in healthcare and, other people's lives are in your hands, things like that. We all have different work backgrounds, but we all probably have a lot of different stressful work backgrounds. I know doing this, while still can be stressful, making sure you're doing the right thing, running your own kind of business and things like that. You always question whether you're doing enough and things like that, but it's been, really rewarding from that stress standpoint because it's kind of in your control, but a lot of people don't have that. There's a lot of external control and a lot of external pressure. And, when you couple that with the responsibility of always trying to improve and do better and keep progressing professionally, you want to bring more money home to your family and, improve the quality of life for your wife and your kids and yourself and everybody. And maybe even you have parents or somebody you take care of or whatever. These are all things that kind of compound on you and you have to kind of deal with. So those are all things you need to kind of think about. Those are things that add stress to your life, and you need to kind of learn to strategize and deal with that stress, or sit back every couple of years and evaluate and say, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing for myself? I know this job's important and, I'm good at it and it does this and it does that, but is there something less stressful I could be doing, that makes just as much, if not more money? Or should I start my own business instead? Or, these are all things you need to weigh and think about how these things kind of affect your life. You know what I mean? Another stress that we deal with as dads is the parental responsibilities. I have 3 kids myself, and every one of them's different. You know what I mean? I've got dealing with a young adult, older kid entering the adult world. I've got another one, about to head off to college, things like that. Dealing with the high school stuff, dealing with teachers, dealing with the woke shit in schools and all that I've, we've had to deal with and talk to, kids about, and, all the different things, dealing with kids with bad friends, bad influences, all that kind of stuff. You have to kind of navigate that world, and it can be stressful. And then your own kids, their own health and their own safety and, all that kind of stuff, and always worrying and always wondering. It's a constant struggle. It's a constant worry. Parenting's it's super stressful. We've all gone through it, unless you're a shitty parent and you just don't care. If parenting is stressful for you, and if it's hard and if it's challenging, you're probably doing the right way because you care, and you care about the well-being of your kids, and you care about the outcome. So it's normal to have that parental stress, but you need to accept the fact that it is a part of life, and it is a part of what you're doing, and you're going to make mistakes. And the most important thing that I think is that you make mistakes, you take accountability for them. That goes for your work professional life too. Be taking accountability at all times of, if you're doing the wrong, if you did something wrong, you made a mistake, it's okay to step back and admit your mistake and move on and improve. And quit. The other thing you need to quit doing is comparing yourself to other dads out there. You know what I mean? Like, we're all on different paths, we're all on different journeys, and because you're seeing this dad doing all this stuff, and him and his kids and their pictures on social media or whatever, always smiling and everything's perfect, you're looking at their highlight reel. You're not looking at the whole life. You're not looking at the entire game. You're just looking at the highlight reel. You need to realize that not everybody's life is perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. Everybody's got bad shit going on. Everybody's making mistakes. Everybody's screwing up. It's fine. It is what it is. Just do your best to correct your deficiencies and move on and act accordingly. And that's really all you can do. And so learn to deal with those kind of different stresses. You know what I mean? Sit back and evaluate what you can do to remove that kind of stress from your life. And that includes with your marriage too. You know what I mean? You need to make sure that you're doing right by, being a married person, and you're still dating your wife, you're still gaming your wife, you're still doing, the things to keep that relationship, active and healthy and happy. And, you're going to deal with the stresses. You're not going to agree on everything. You're going to disagree a lot of the time, and that's totally fine. It's totally normal. So you just have to deal with those kind of things and learn how to cope with that stress, and come up with some stress management techniques that you can do, as far as getting some alone time. Thinking about it, talking about it, writing about it is super effective. Having a person to seek counsel with, whatever that is, hiring a coach, whatever you need to do. You need to find some way to be able to learn how to cope and deal with that stress, and come up with techniques to, make those stresses, balance your life to where you can deal with those stresses and get adequate sleep. So now let's get into kind of the sleep hygiene stuff. Now that we've talked about some of the things that cause you that stress, I want to go into what can you do as far as your sleep goes. And look, I don't teach medicine, like taking pills and shit on this, on this channel, in this company. I'm not going to sit here and say get on Ambien or, dose yourself with melatonin, which, is safe and effective and all that. It's just a supplement, but I would rather do everything naturally and on my own. And I recommend that for you guys too. But you have to do what you have to do. But that's not the way I teach things, and that's not what I'm going to recommend. So I'm not going to go get a bunch of pills. I'm not going to shove that down your throat. No pun intended. But so the first thing that you kind of can talk about is obviously making a schedule. So I'm not a big schedule guy, or I wasn't before. But I think a lot of people need to sit and get out a pen and a piece of paper. I recommend doing this by hand. I like to do a lot of like writing to help myself by hand. It just feels more personal because it's coming out of you almost. And sit and write down your day. What are the non-negotiable things you have to do during your day? Whether that's your work, obviously that's number one. That's how you survive. That's how you make income. That's how you feed your family and yourself. And so you have to write your work schedule down. Your next non-negotiable should be your sleep, or should be your exercise. You write down the amount of time you exercise. You need to exercise an hour a day or whatever your schedule permits, but you need to be exercising. Write that down. Write your meals down. Write down the time that you want to spend hanging out with your kids and playing. Write down some time to sit and read a book or reflect or meditate or whatever you want to do to kind of get some time to yourself and do some reflection and things like that, whether it's to jump in your car and go for a drive, or sit and do some reading, sit and do some writing, sit and do whatever you need to do. Schedule that time. I think, coming up with those schedules is important. And then you can kind of build your sleep schedule around that. Okay, I need like an hour to talk to my wife. And you might find that you actually have time in the day to do it. If you sit and you actually wrote it out and quit living by the seat of your pants, you might find that you would have the time to do all the kind of things that you didn't realize you had to do, including sleep good. Having a regular bedtime and wake up time is crucial. You'll find that you can kind of get on your own internal clock that way. So just figure out a time that you need to go to bed and try to schedule out 7-8 hours from 6. I recommend at least 7 hours. If you can get 8, that's awesome. But at least 7 hours from there, and then kind of just try to get on that schedule and see if your body can self-regulate it. You know what I mean? It's a super, once you start figuring it out and you actually hack it and your nutrition's dialed in and things like that, it all becomes easier, and you'll see that you can actually do this. I never believed it. I was able to do it. Your bedtime routine is another thing you need to do. Kind of find some ways to calm yourself down before you go to bed. Like things I don't recommend going right to bed after work. You're still kind of dealing with the stresses of work. You're still kind of in work mode and you need to come down off of that. Same as like working out. I would never recommend working out and then going right to bed. Your adrenaline's kind of pumping, your blood's kind of flowing, and you just don't want to do that. Another thing, like things you can do that I would say would help you go to bed, do some reading, do some light stretching, or just kind of sit in the dark and think, or even like my wife and I will sit there and just kind of talk for a little bit, just chit chatty kind of stuff until she typically falls asleep. I bore her until she falls asleep or something like that, and then I'm off going to sleep soon after that. There's just little things you can do, just relaxing kind of stuff in your sleep environment that can kind of help. Soft light, and just maybe read a book or whatever. Obviously, like the screen time shit, a lot of people talk about that, and a lot of us will roll our eyes at it, like whatever. But it's no joke, man. I would recommend getting off the screen, off your phone, off your Kindle or computer or whatever, like an hour before you go to bed, at least. That blue light really does kind of fuck with your cycle a little bit, and the better you can get off that, and then kind of just read some books on paper or something like that, or do some of those other activities I talked about, is super beneficial. I'd definitely recommend getting off the screen before you go to bed. It's a real thing. I swear to God, it works. And then obviously your sleep environment, right? Whatever's comfortable for you, you and your wife or girlfriend, whatever living situation you're in, need to talk about what your ideal sleep situation is and come up with a way to keep your environment to the best of your ability. Like my wife and I, our big thing was, she grew up like sleeping with the TV on, and I grew up sleeping in pitch black. My parents, that was a huge no-go in my house, sleeping with like a TV on or something like that. And so for me, I had to sleep in cool, dark, quiet, no light, no TV, no sound, no nothing. She was TV blaring all through the night, and it was a little bit of an issue at first, but then she just then she eventually saw the benefit of sleeping with the TV off. So sometimes she still kind of, I'd like to have the TV, fall asleep to the TV, but I just can't do it. So that's my environment that I sleep in the best, and you just need to kind of figure that out and figure out a way to make that work for you. Find your best environment and sleep in that, and you'll get better sleep that way as well. And then the last thing that you can kind of do, the most important thing, I don't know if I'd say the last, but most important is going to be your lifestyle. I think it all starts with nutrition. That's where I started this channel, was trying to make dads better and, trying to help dads level up in life. And I think it all starts with how you take care of yourself, and that all starts with your nutrition. Getting adequate nutrition, getting your body right, eating the right things, fueling it with the right foods. The carnivore diet, like I found, has been super, super beneficial for me. It's been the best thing that ever happened to me. I struggled and I searched and I looked for diets and I looked for lifestyle changes and I looked for ways of eating for years, and nothing worked. Nothing was sustainable. I just kept going back to the same old trap and eating the same old foods and eating the standard American diet that's shoved down our throats and it's everywhere. And it just didn't work for me. And then I found this and it did. And if you say it's not sustainable, here I am 4 years later and proving you wrong. So, and I know a lot of people, I have no plans of coming off this diet. I never will. This is the way I'm going to eat the rest of my life, God willing, as long as the government doesn't start banning meat or some shit, Demolition Man style. This is the way I'm going to do it forever. So the balanced diet is number one for me. The next best thing, obviously, is the exercise, getting adequate exercise in, a strength resistance training type program. You don't have to go in there and kill yourself every day in the gym. You don't have to go in there and put in an Arnold style fucking workout or anything if that's not the life you want to live. If that's what you want to do, then fine, go do that too. But get some strength building in, get some resistance training in. Find a cardio activity that you enjoy, that you like doing, that works, that gets you sweating, that gets you breathing hard, and go do that. Go do that stuff. Go for a walk, go for a swim, ride a bike. You don't have to sit and grind out, an hour on a fucking treadmill. I'm not that guy too either. Trust me. I like swimming. That's my favorite thing in the world, is just getting in the pool. I come up with and just, kind of swimming some laps. And it's not even like hard laps like I did when I was younger, because I was a swimmer when I was younger. Just doing breaststroke for a little bit. I've come up with so many ideas for this while doing that. And, I challenge all of you guys to do that. Just find a cardio activity, whether it's going for a long walk, a bike ride, hike, whatever you want to do. Find some way to kind of work out, and it'll help your sleep tremendously. Like I said, just don't be doing it, right before bed or something like that, and getting your adrenaline up and getting your juices going right before you go to bed. So that's basically it, guys. That's what I'm going to kind of leave you with. I implore you guys to find ways to get adequate sleep. It's, one of the most important things in your life, next to, your nutrition and your exercise, as far as things you can do for yourself. Getting better sleep will lead, I guarantee, getting better sleep will lead to a better overall quality of life. I guarantee it. So till next time, I want you guys to remember to go to www.lion-dads.com, link down in the description, and get that free PDF. Get yourself started losing weight right now with a carnivore diet, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.